field trials, a lot of them through different European countries. So there I've been as well. And yeah, recently I've been also involved in the whole launch of the Epic device in the different markets. Did a lot of product trainings already, and today with you. So I'm very happy to introduce you to the new technology today. Okay, I will speak slowly. Sorry for that. Okay. Perfect. If you need time in the between my sentences to translate for your colleagues, that's fine as well. If you prefer to translate for your colleagues, we can always have a little break in between the different topics. Okay, I will try my best. If I'm too quick, let me know, and you as well. If I get too quick, just give me a little sign, and I will try to slow down. Understood. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think it's certainly a good idea to have a technical colleague who's the product expert for Epic and that is traveling from farm to farm in order to teach the interested people the new technology and the device. So that's a very good idea. And this is something that you would certainly have to do if you want to be a successful distributor of Epic. So Epic is not a catalog item. You cannot sell it without teaching people. Like I am introducing you to the device today. There will be a second training once you have a device in your hands, where we just, with you having the device, I have a device on my table. Then we do the different steps in setting up the device, working with the device, cleaning the device. These are the two steps that we always do. So first, and this is the meeting that we have today, we have a theoretical part, and you just get to know a little bit more about the technology that is inside the device and what makes it so unique. And then you get a device, and then we have the second training where we really have a practical training. So this is what we do, and this way we want to make it as convenient and as smoothly as possible for you to start working with the Epic device. And this is what we have made very good experiences with. So it's a very good idea that you have to have one Epic champion or one Epic expert that is going to the farms and is telling the people what to do. I wouldn't recommend though, because I don't think it's necessary that you do also the vaccinations in the farm. If that's something like a business model for you, that you do the needle-free vaccinations with one of your staff, and you charge your customers per pig, of might be worth a try, but this is something that I wouldn't know of any other distributor yet. So this would be a new approach. Why not try a new approach? But this is something we haven't been aware of from any other distributor yet. I see your point. Yeah. Mm. You will see throughout the presentation that it's a very although it's a technical product, it's also a very intuitive product. So it's compared to other needle-free devices, it's really easy to use. Also because of the LED signals that make it transparent for the user, even if he's unexperienced, what the device is doing in any moment. So it is sort of intuitive, but I still see your point, and I think it's a good idea. So why not do it this way around? And maybe that's something that your customers also appreciate. You have an expert coming to them, doing the vaccinations, doing a proper handling of the device. They pay per pick, and they have a well treated herd that is being vaccinated with a needle-free device. So I think it's interesting. It's a good approach. It's a nice idea. Why not go for it? That's right. Yeah, and I think if you do that for a certain period of time, people will maybe also get to know the technology a little bit better. And if they at some point decide to buy their own device, why not? Because then they already know how to vaccinate the animals, what to consider in terms of maintenance and cleaning. And yeah, so maybe this idea that you have will lead to nice sales after a certain period of time, a little down the road. Yeah. At the moment, I have a pick. Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. I have some videos that you will see in my presentation. So I would suggest let's go through the presentation, and afterwards I will do a little demo with my fake pick here. That's what I can offer for today. At the moment, it's difficult due to COVID to go to farms in order to have a practical demonstration on pigs. Of course, and this is what we would normally do. We would also visit you and go to the farm with you in order to teach you practically how to use the device. This would be our preferred scenario, but this is also difficult due to COVID at the moment. But you will see some videos, and I will let you know everything that is important to know if you vaccinate in a farm. So this is what we can do today. And in the practical training, in a couple of weeks when you have your device, I will also be in the office, but we will more or less be acting like we would actually be vaccinating piglets. So we will try to make it as practical as possible. This is something that I would have in my presentation. So I would propose, if that's fine for you, we start with the presentation. I will tell you everything about the device, and then afterwards we have another question and answer session. Is that okay? All right. Then I will share my screen. Just a second. All right. Can you see my screen? Perfect. Very good. All right. So maybe we start off with a little bit of a historic view, where we come from and why we came up with EPIC. What was the idea behind it? So on this slide, you see on the left the existing needle-free devices for intradermal injection. So I'm probably you are aware of these devices. It's EDAL and hypodermic. These are the two devices that you can vaccinate needle-free in pigs. but it's only for intradermal injection and not for intramuscular injection. So, as you are most likely aware of, still the far majority of vaccines is for intramuscular vaccination. So this is a little bit of a limitation with the intradermal devices that we see on this slide on the left side. Yep. I think so too. Yeah, and this is also what we get as a feedback from the field. On the right side, you see the devices that have been already there for intramuscular needle-free vaccination. So that's on the left. With the blue handpiece, it's Pulse, and on the right, it's AccuShot. So these are the two devices that have been around for quite some time now, and since 10 or 15 years are more or less unchanged. So there hasn't been any further development, new features. It's still basically the same devices. Pulse with the blue handpiece is driven by air pressure. So there it's quite complicated to set up the device. You need to have a pressure pipe system in your farm, or you need a air pressure generator. So that makes it a little bit complicated to set it up. But you have the advantage that you have possibility to adjust the device with different pressure levels in order to inject different animal ages. So that's the one device, and the AccuShot, the other device that is here on the right. I think, yeah. Here we have different power cylinders that you have to assemble in the device depending on what species you wanna vaccinate and what age you want to vaccinate. And then you also have different pressure levels. But also here, the handling is quite complicated. The device is very bulky. It's not very handy. You have to use both arms in order to carry the device. And there's a lot of sources for mistakes because if you use a wrong power cylinder because someone doesn't know about it or doesn't know what the right power cylinder is, you can seriously harm the animal by having a too high pressure or a too low pressure, resulting in the fact that you don't deliver the vaccine. So this system here, just as this system with its adjustability and pressure, offers a lot of risks for those who are not familiar with the devices. And this is the topic that you have mentioned. If there's some unexperienced users or workers in the farms, they usually struggle very much with both devices because they are quite technical. You have to be an expert. There are a lot of single parts, a lot of O-rings, valves, small piece parts that you have to service, and that's sort of too complicated. And this is also what we get as a feedback from our distributors. Those two devices are around for quite some time, and they are not used very much because they are so complicated. So that's why we had the idea to have sort of a combination of both worlds by creating the Epic device. And here we really tried to have the intuitive use of the intradermal devices with the feature of intramuscular vaccination of Pulse and AccuShot. So this is more or less the combination of the best features of both worlds. But the downside to this is that you don't have the adjustability and pressure anymore. So here we have a limitation in terms of pressure. But this also offers the big advantage that you cannot work with the wrong setup. So you have one device, you take it out of the case, you mount the bottle, you insert the battery, and you can go. You don't have any pressure that you can adjust. There's no sources for mistakes. You just set up your volume, 1 ml or 2 ml, and then you can start vaccinating. Therefore, you have to accept the fact that we are limited in terms of animal age. And this is coming back now to your question. Why did we design EPIC for this age of animals or pigs only? It's because of this limitation in pressure. Yeah, we have one technology, one design inside that doesn't allow for an adjustment in pressure. And with the pressure level that we have in this device, and it was especially developed for piglets, we can only vaccinate piglets and not sows. If we would have the same pressure level for sows, then it would be too strong for piglets. And for piglets, there's a lot of vaccinations that you do between the 3 and 10 weeks. So there's at least 3 or 4 vaccinations that you do against these typical diseases in swine. There's a broad vaccine portfolio that you can use and administer with the EPIC device. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's have a little look on the main features of the device before I explain a little bit more about the technical functionality. So EPIC is, as we all know, a needle-free intramuscular injector. It's a battery-driven device with 1,200 doses per battery charge. So to charge a battery takes approximately 2 hours or something like that, and then it's fully charged like a phone battery more or less. And as you can see, you will have 2 batteries per device. So while you work with one battery and you can do your 1,200 injections, you can charge the other one. So therefore, you will never be without power. You can always continue vaccinating if you have a big amount of animals that you want to vaccinate. As you said already, it's for pigs around weaning until the end of nursery, which offers a broad portfolio of vaccines to be administered in that age. It comes with an adjustable dose of either 1 ml or 2 ml. We have a bottle mount system that you are already familiar with. It's the one that we also have on our Ecomatic syringes with the different universal colors here for different bottle sizes and bottle shapes. So that's what users and workers in the field will already know. So it's even more intuitive to them. Furthermore, we have a water-resistant housing. It's also dust-resistant, of course. So this makes it, bulletproof for use in the farm. No dirt can get inside. It's easy to clean it after use by brushing and washing it with water from the outside. So you can even hold the device under running tap water to clean it off after use. Water will not get in, exactly. The only scenario where water would get in if you would dip the device underwater. This is not intended, but if you run it under rinsing water from the tap, that's okay. Yeah. The device comes with a 2-year warranty, and also, or whatever's reached first, a 500,000 injections lifespan. So depending on what is reached first, the warranty will expire. Nevertheless, if you have a device that already has reached 500,000 injections, it may still be good to continue using it, so you don't have to stop using it after 500,000 injections. It can also last for 600,000 or something like that. And we also provide continued support with repairs in case someone drops a device or you have any physical damage to a device. We will repair the device and send it back to you. Yeah, this of course with a certain charge. Therefore, we have a list with different repair levels, but we have continued support for all devices, no matter how old they are. Okay, regarding the mode of action, how does it work? How do we get the vaccine into the animal and into the muscle? Therefore, it's helpful to look at this pressure curve that we see right here. So with a 2 ml injection, we have this sort of pressure curve right here with a profile. In the beginning, you have a high peak in pressure. So this peak in the beginning is used to cut with the vaccine a hole into the skin and into the subcutaneous tissue and to go into the muscle. So with this peak in the beginning, we open the channel into the muscle. And then we reduce the pressure to about half of the maximum here. So it's a reduced pain level for the animal. And here, the majority of the dose is administered. And since we are already in the muscle by having this peak in the beginning, the complete dose right here is administered into the muscle. So that's, yeah. This is a secret. We cannot talk about it. It's a very precise pressure window, pressure tolerance that we have for the device. It's basically two factors that make it possible to inject needle-free. It's one hand the correct pressure, and on the other hand, it's the correct diameter of the jet exit. So where the liquid leaves the device. Yeah. Yes. Mhm. If it depends a little bit, of course, if there's like some dried dirt on the skin that is thick, it would be difficult. But since we vaccinate the pig behind the ear, where usually there's not so, or into the neck muscle behind the ear, which is the typical place for intramuscular injection, typically there's not much dirt in this area. So therefore, we didn't have any issues throughout all the field trials and didn't have any issues with in the meantime, now we have 300 devices in the field. And regarding this topic, we didn't have any issues so far. So there was no case where dirt on the skin was having a negative impact on the vaccination result. Um, I didn't quite understand the question. Can you repeat? Yes. Okay, I understand. Okay. The alerts that will be given by the vaccinator in the green and red LED lights, they are given independence of the contact time that you have to the animal. So if you apply the device to the skin of the pig, you start the vaccination, you need a certain period of time, which we can see here for 2 ml, it's 0.2 seconds, 200 milliseconds. And if you release the device too early, so let's say you release it already here after 100 milliseconds, then it would give you a red LED signal because you have not administered the full dose. So basically, it's a time measurement because, of course, we cannot scan the skin of the animal. We cannot look inside. We cannot see did it get into the muscle or not. We can only count the time and work with the sensors that are inside the device. And this is done by measuring the contact time that you have during the vaccination. And if you release the device too early, you get a red LED. and you will know, okay, I most likely didn't administer the full dose. Yes, that's correct. So I will show it to you later as well. It will give you the green LED signal, and this in 99% of the cases really means that you have administered correctly. Yeah. So coming back to this pressure curve right here, with this peak in the beginning, as I mentioned, we cut the channel into the muscle, and then the complete dose is administered into the muscle. And here we have a little video to demonstrate this. It's injecting in ballistic gel. You see a little scale here with 1, 2, 3, 4 centimeters. The device is up here, and the jet will come out in this direction. And now pay attention to this peak in the beginning. You will see that the jet goes right into the correct depth, and here it will gather the vaccine. It's a super slow-mo video, so this makes it quite nicely visible how this works. Yes, exactly. That's around 3, 4 centimeters, something like that. Yeah. I will also show you some here's another demonstration, or it's an animation actually. This was also part of the YouTube video. So you apply the device to the skin in a 90-degree angle. That's very important to have the right angle to the skin. And then, as you can see here, it's in a 90-degree angle. And then you push the device against the animal. You will see the sleeve moving back. Yeah. And then the injection is released. And then the vaccine disperses inside the muscle tissue. And this is how it looks like in pigs. So this was one of our clinical trials where we had piglets. This was at the age of 4 weeks. On the left picture here, you see the injection site. It's right here. So it's a very tiny opening. It's a lot smaller and less in diameter than a standard needle injection. So this also implies that you have less bleeding after the injection. And then here, if you open the injection site, you see how the vaccine is inside the muscle. And here as well, we open it a little bit further. So yeah, that shows that it really works quite good. And also the serological studies were successful. So that's where we work together with Boehringer Ingelheim, who have helped us with all the clinical studies and serology studies with the device. Yes. Um, it's difficult to say it's in percent because it also depends a little bit on the handling of the user. If you, for example, apply the device in the wrong angle, so not in a 90-degree angle, but in an 80-degree angle, for example, or 70, this would affect the vaccination result and also the building of abscesses. So if you have fully correct handling of the device and administration of the vaccine, it will usually be less than what you see in needles. This is what we can say. Yeah. That's right. I mean, it's a new way of working for your technician. He has to get some experience with that. But what I saw in the field trials is that people after doing 30, 40, 50 injections with the Epic device, they already became familiar with what they have to consider and what is important to have a proper vaccination. So it's of course it's new, and until you are really an expert in working with the device, it takes a little bit more than 50 injections. But after those first 40, 50 injections, people started already to get comfortable with the device because you have the LED signs giving you a direct feedback on each injection, and you also learn to place the device in the correct way. You know how long to keep contact with the animal for a proper injection and so on. So it's quite a quick and easy learning process in the beginning. You mean something like this? Ah, okay. No, we don't have something like that, unfortunately. You would maybe have to use ballistic gel as well. Maybe you can source that somewhere locally. Of course, you have to know that ballistic gel is not comparable to a living animal and its tissue. So ballistic gel will always have a little spill back after the injection because it cannot hold the vaccine that good. So that's maybe something that would be irritating for some customers because they think that the vaccine is coming back out instead of staying inside the animal. But if you have a living animal with the tissue and muscle and everything below, then there's more or less no vaccine residue on the skin. Of course, there's always one or two drops on the skin because if the vaccine jet hits the skin, there's no hole there. So the first two or three drops of vaccine are staying on the skin until the hole is opened and the vaccine can enter the animal. But that's normal with every type of needle-free injector. So that's nothing that you have to worry about. Yeah. We have also done some trials in dead piglets or pork from the meat store. Um, it's not the same. This is what I can tell, but for practicing, it's I think it's okay. Yeah. You could do that. If you take a dead piglet, then just do a couple of trial shots. Of course, there's limited space on a piglet because they are quite small. But this is something that you could work with in the beginning in order to practice. All right. Sorry, did you have one more question or no? Okay. So why Epic? There's several reasons that really make Epic interesting for swine producers globally. First, one of them is that swine vaccines administration is challenged for quite some time now in terms of different aspects. For example, the reduction of disease transmission, reducing the risk of broken needles, but also reducing the risk of needle stick injuries in your workers, because that can be quite serious as well. If workers inject themselves with a needle, they can sometimes be sick for several weeks. Then you have a problem as a farmer to get a replacement to step in. But also in terms of animal welfare, Epic offers a lot of advantages because this is something that you could clearly see in comparisons between, in the field trials, we did a group of 50 piglets with needle vaccination with a traditional way and 50 piglets with Epic. And you could clearly see that the group with Epic was a lot calmer. They didn't squeak around. They didn't try to escape. They were not panicking that much. This is something that you will also see in the video later on in this presentation. So the piglets really stay calm, and that makes it also easier for the workers to vaccinate the piglets. So this is a very nice effect of needle-free injection. Furthermore, we have a high level of ease of use for the workers in the farm because of what I mentioned, the different LED signals. There's a screen on the device telling you what the device is doing in every moment. So it's really a high level of transparency. And due to the plug and play approach of the device, it's also easy to set up and use the device. Furthermore, we think that with Epic, you also have a higher level of accuracy in administration. because you always have to make sure that you work with a certain level of precision during the injection. In the beginning, this may take a little bit longer than the traditional way with needle, but after gaining some experience, you are quite quick with working with Epic, and you won't notice a time difference anymore. And what, as an additional effect, what comes in is that you have always the same position for doing your injection. You always should guide the device to the skin in a 90-degree angle. You always have the same starting position for the vaccine, and it always goes more or less into the same spot inside the animal. If you work with a needle, you can inject in different angles. I've seen people injecting the piglets through the ear because the ear was still here, so they injected through the ear into the neck muscle and so on. So there's a lot of things with varying factors if you work with needle injection. And therefore, we think with Epic, you work cleaner and you have a better result in accuracy. Then we have, and this is quite nice as well, a large spectrum of use. As I mentioned, it's an intramuscular injector, so we can work with all the 1 ml and 2 ml vaccines for the dedicated age range, and that offers a big scale or spectrum of use. Then we have an on-farm service concept, and this is also very important for this device. Our concept and idea behind Epic is that if you, as a farmer, buy an Epic device, you can actually leave it at your farm for the whole lifetime. So it doesn't have to go any service in a different facility. If you have a new firmware or software for the device, you don't have to send it back to us. We have an on-farm service concept, meaning that only one little component is needed to be serviced, and this can be done at the farm with standard tools and within 5 minutes. This is I can show to you real quick. It's this little unit right here. You will see it later on in the practical part as well. It sits behind the injection head. It's the cylinder basically of the device, and this is the only unit that you have to exchange every 12,000 injections. Everything else is made to last for the whole lifetime of the device. So that's a very nice feature because it also offers high biosecurity level because you don't have to send your equipment somewhere else. You can keep it in your farm. And last but not least, we as Henke Sass Wolf have long-term experience with needle-free technology. As you might know, we are the producers of Idal as well for Merck, the other intradermal needle-free injector. And this is what we do for quite some time now, and therefore we have gathered a lot of know-how about needle-free injection. All right, let's have a look at the user interface. So the device comes with a little display on the backside. Below the display, you have 2 buttons, and this is all you need basically in order to make your settings and to have the device set up in the way you like. A starting display up here shows all the relevant information. So you see a day counter, you see the currently set volume, you see the battery level, and so on. If you click on the right button, you can go through the different menu pages. For example, you can go to the menu page showing the current volume. If you want to change the volume, you have to push the left button in order to change to 1 ml, for example. So with the right button, you just move through the menu. With the left button, you change a setting or you reset a day counter, for example. So that's it. Very intuitive, very easy to change settings. In terms of user comfort, of course, it's a technical device. We have to generate a certain amount of pressure and force in order to get the dose administered intramuscularly. So therefore, we wanted to make sure that we make a design that has maximum amount of user comfort. Therefore, we really put a lot of efforts in finding the right handle diameter because, as you know, there are a lot of different hand sizes and hand shapes around the globe. Therefore, we really made sure that the handle diameter is suitable for any hand size. It has a soft grip component like most power tools. This is the dark gray part right here. So this offers you a better grip of the device. The handle position is optimally balanced. It's a 50-50 weight on the front and back. So that's also making it convenient to work with the device. And we have a symmetrical design. And this makes it possible as a right-hander and as a left-hander to work with the device equally as well. Yes. There is a trigger right here. So you still have to push a trigger and you have to push the injection head against the pig in order to release the injection. This is a security concept because we, of course, want to avoid that you, by accident, release an injection without having an animal in front of the nozzle. So therefore we have this. Yeah. So it's similar to EDAL, for example. You first have to push the trigger and then apply the device to the skin of the pig, and only if both is being done, the injection is released. Yeah. Down here we have a little slot for a flexible wrist strap. I will show that to you in a minute as well on the practical part. And back here we have a little eyelet where you can assemble a shoulder strap, for example, if you want to leave the device hanging on a shoulder strap. If you move from barn to barn, that would be possible by attaching it here. So the technical highlights, and this is where we have the two-way safety release right here. So this the lower point. This is what I just mentioned. You first have to push the trigger, and then this sleeve around the nozzle has to be pushed back by making contact with the animal, and then the injection is released. What's very nice about the device, even though there's quite a high amount of pressure generated with the device in order to inject, we have no recoil with the device. So there's no pushback or something like that. Like if you would fire a gun, you would usually have this type of pushback. This is not the case with Epic. So it's really smooth. You just apply the device to the skin, you inject, and there's no physical pushback in the device. Yeah, it's also, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it means. Furthermore, it's with a very low noise level. So in a farm environment, you hardly hear what happens inside the device. And that's also very nice because the piglets really like if it's not loud. If an injector like Pulse or AccuShot are a little bit more or have a higher noise level, there sometimes the piglets were panicking because of the noise. Here, this device is really at a very low noise level, so you can hardly hear what is happening if you are standing inside the farm. Therefore, we have introduced this LED indication. We have already talked about the green and the red LED indication. We also have a white flashing LED if the device is loaded with a dose of vaccine. So if it's ready for the next injection, you have a white flashing LED. And a blue LED is shown if you rinse the device. So if you clean it with water, detergent mix, for example, after use, it would have the blue flashing. All right. Before we come to the practical part, just one more slide here. We have an app that is optional for using it with the Epic device. Yes, sterilization is possible. So what we recommend is to clean the device from the outside with sort of, first of all, with a soaked sponge with water detergent mix in order to get off the rough dirt. Then you can also use some disinfectant wipes, for example, to do the rest. And if you really want to have it sterilized, you can do I think 110 minutes, putting it in an autoclave at 60 degrees Celsius, not higher than that, because you have a battery that is also needed to be sterilized if you go to the next farm. So you put the device and the battery into the autoclave at 60 degrees Celsius for 110 minutes, and this it's a sort of a low temperature procedure in order to sterilize medical equipment, and this will sterilize the device completely, and then you can go to the next farm without any risk. I think this hasn't been tried yet by us, so I'm not sure about that. If it's only light, probably there's nothing that would harm the device. I wouldn't know. Yeah, sorry. I will clarify this question for you if it's possible to do it with ultraviolet, because I want to make sure that I give you the correct information. And once I have the feedback from our engineers, I will let you know. Okay? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's mm, yeah. This is of course a topic that needs to be safe. I fully understand. As mentioned, you can do it in an autoclave with a 60 degree at 110 minutes. That's possible. This has been tested by us. I will also clarify the UV and gas sterilization for you if it's possible. I will let you know. And then you have 2 or 3 different options in order to sterilize the devices. Okay. So back to the app. It's a very helpful tool, as I think. You have a lot of different possibilities to work with the app. It enhances further features. For example, you can adapt the language of the user menu in the device. So there's several languages that we have already. I think in Taiwan, the language that you speak is Chinese, right? Okay, then because Chinese. Okay, all right. Yeah, English is there. Thai will be there as well. So that's an additional menu language that we will implement very soon. So if your technical colleague will then go to the field, you could actually have a um, uh, Thai user menu. Yeah. So that would be possible. Yeah. All right. So here, some different options that you have with this app. It's, for example, doing remote updates for your Epic device. If we have a new feature for the device, for example, a new counter, you could, through your app, just like you do it with your phone, download the update and then transfer it to the device in order to get access to this new feature. You can read the counters here, so you can, in different time spans, today, 7 days, 30 days, or the complete year. You can look at the number of vaccinations that you have done and the quality of the vaccinations. This number right here, 96%, is a ratio of red and green LEDs. So in this case, out of 100 vaccinations, you would have done 96 successful vaccinations with green LED as a feedback, and 4 unsuccessful vaccinations with a red LED. Okay, so this is the vaccination quality. You see the battery level, you see the menu language that is currently set up, and you see the volume right here. Yes. This you will see in the video that I will show to you on the next slide. It's both possible. Yeah. So one more possibility that I would like to highlight here is the possibility to run a technical self-diagnosis with the device. So if you click on Run Diagnosis in the app, the device will start a technical self-diagnosis, checking if all the sensors are still working, if all the buttons are still working, and so on. And if this is completed, you will get a feedback or that tells you if anything is wrong with the device or not. If everything is fine, you will get a feedback that it's been a successful check. If something is wrong, for example, a display button doesn't work anymore, you will get the notification about this, and you will also get some hints on how to solve the problem. So that's just an additional support that we want to grant to users of the device, because the device is not transparent. You cannot see what happens inside. With this functionality here, you at least can see if everything that in terms of sensors and hardware is inside is still working. All right, so here's a little video on the vaccination of piglets at about 4 weeks of age. These piglets were lifted up, but there will be another video on the next slide where we have vaccinated older piglets on the floor. So I'll run this video for you. We have the Epic device right here. It's the man in the red shirt right here who's working with the Epic device. And then there's also an EDAL device that has been used in the same session. So I will run the video. So the Epic device is this one right here. You see the LED that indicates if the device is loaded with white. And after the injection, it gives you a green LED if it worked well. And you can hear that there's no noise, basically. So the device is not making a loud noise during injection. It's very, very silent. And also you can see the pigs are quite relaxed. So they are not panicking due to any needles or something. They are just, of course, they are a little bit unrelaxed due to the handling. But the vaccination itself is not of pain for them. Sorry? The green one was EDAL. Yes, that's right. So this is EDAL right here. This is EDAL. It's also produced by us, but it's exclusively distributed through MSD. They have their logo and everything on there. And here you see Epic. Yeah. It's not the same product. No. This one here is for intradermal injection. So it's only into the skin of the pig. And the Epic is for intramuscular. So it goes into the muscle. Sorry, can you say again? Exactly, yes. And intradermal vaccines are very rare at the moment, and intramuscular vaccines are everywhere. So that's the standard. Therefore, this device here, the Epic device for intramuscular needle-free injection, can be used with a much broader range of vaccines. All right, here's the second video. We have, these are 10-week-old pigs. So they're just about at the end of nursery. And here, of course, it's not possible anymore to lift them up. So therefore, we have vaccinated them on the floor. And here it's possible. You have to get a little bit more practice because, of course, they can move around. Ideally, you would limit the space for them in order they cannot escape anymore. But still, it worked quite good, as you will see. I hope that the video is running smoothly for you. So this works as well. Yeah, you can see that the pigs also here, they are not squeaking. They don't show any panical reaction or something like that. Yeah, that's also possible. So here's a little 6-step short user guide before we finally jump to the practical part. This I would just like to know that we have this short user guide in the scope of supply as well. So if you open the case, we have a one-pager showing the 6 main steps in order to work with the device. And these are the 6 main steps. So if you want to start your vaccination session, you take the vaccine bottle, you choose the suitable adapter, and then you connect it to the device. This is the first step. Second step would simply be to insert the battery, which will then turn on the device. The third step here is to set up the device in the way that you want it to have. For example, you adjust the volume because today you vaccinate a vaccine at 1 ml dosage. So then you would change the volume to 1 ml. And then in the next step, what is done is we prime the device with vaccine. So just like with a normal syringe, before you do your first injection, you want to prime the syringe. So this here is the same. We have to prime the device with vaccine before we do the first injection. And what happens during the priming is that you have, of course, a certain liquid path here inside the device. So from the bottle, there's a tubing down to the cylinder. Here is the cylinder behind the nozzle. And here's where the vaccine leaves the device. So the volume of this fluid path is around 6 milliliters. And in order to get out the remaining service liquid that is still inside from our technical tests before we ship the device will rinse 3 times. So the water comes out, the service liquid leaves the device, and at the same time, vaccine is drawn into the device and to the nozzle. And once this process is completed, you get a white flashing LED, and then you know, now I can do my first injection. You will see that in a minute in a practical way, so then you will better understand what is happening. And then the 5th step is just to work with the device. You get a green or red LED as a feedback, if successful or not. Here it's also a little bit of an indication to apply the device in a 90-degree angle to the skin. And afterwards, once you're finished with vaccinating the pigs, you take a bottle of cleaning liquid, you screw it to the device, and then you push both display buttons for 3 seconds, and this will start a washing program for internal cleaning of the device. So that's also quite easy and intuitive. And these are the 6 main steps in using the EPIC device. So there you can see that it's quite easy actually to work with the device compared to other needle-free devices. You can make it yourself. So I will just stop sharing my screen right now so you can see it. We have one 100 ml PET bottle with a thread on top that is included in the scope of supply inside the case. And there you can see it's empty upon delivery because for safety reasons, because we have batteries inside the case as well. But you see the different possibilities for cleaning liquids are on the label here. So you can either use isopropanol, you can use distilled water, or you can use a water detergent mix. So this is what everyone has, a water detergent mix everyone has in the farm. Also, distilled water is very easy to get in big canisters. And then usually what we recommend is to do one rinsing or one washing program that I just showed to you in the 6th step with a water detergent mix, ideally with hot water and detergent, and then do the 10 rinsing cycles. And then in the second run of the washing program, you would do the same with distilled water in order to get out the detergent residues from the device. So you only have distilled clean water after the rinsing, after the internal cleaning procedure inside the device. And when you use the device for the next time with vaccine, it won't harm the vaccine. So this is why the 2 steps are important. It depends a little bit on the vaccine that you use. If it's a very watery vaccine, you might not have the same issues compared to a very sticky or oily vaccine. And also depends on how long the device is then, put aside for. If he stops using the device for just 2 hours because it's his lunch break, then it won't be that much of a topic. But if he puts the device aside for 2 weeks, not using the device anymore and still having the vaccine inside the device, it will probably be a problem because then, the vaccine will dry, it will get sticky, it may block some valves inside the device. So that's, of course, then a problem. Um, probably might be going well if you're lucky, but you might also have a little bit of an issue because some of the valves and a part of the fluid path is not accessible for users. I can show this to you on the device in a later on, but it would be an issue actually, and this is why we try to make it as simple as possible with this cleaning program to clean the device after use. So this is always important. It's also important with any other equipment, even if it's a normal hand held syringe, to clean the device and the equipment after use. So with this type of technological equipment, it's also quite important to do this. Yeah, but I totally agree with you. That's what we experience as well, and that's where we get a lot of complaints from. But usually we see a big difference if they pay 20 euro for a syringe or if they pay 4,000 euro for a device like this. They are much more careful with it. They tend to clean it more and handle it the correct way. Yeah. Yeah. As I mentioned, it's depending on the two factors. How long is the device not used for, and what vaccine have you used before? So that's the two things that will have impact on how easy or how difficult it will be to get the device running again. In some cases, it might be that you would have to send the device back to us in order to open the device, clean it professionally, and get it running again. In some cases, but it might also be possible that you would be able to get it running locally again. Yeah, but as mentioned, if you clean the device right after use, which is what we totally recommend, and which is very easy to do because of this cleaning program. You just have to push two buttons and then you just have to wait basically until the device has washed itself. If you do that right after use, you won't face the issue. So I think that should be an incentive to really perform according to that. But I see your point and your concern. Yeah. Yeah. Most, most likely, yes. All right, so let's start with the practical part a little bit here. I would um, love to demonstrate to you just one, cycle of working. So let's assume I would be a vet and I would be in a farm environment right now, and I would like to vaccinate some pigs. What I would do is I would get the device. So this is the device right here. It's it looks like a big one, but I'm very small, so no, it's looking bigger and heavier than it is. If you have it in your hand, it's something else. And also because of the nice balancing, it's really good to work with. So this is what we got as a feedback. The weight is 2.2 kilogram. This I can say very transparently. It's a little bit heavier than the EDAL device, of course, because we have to apply more force in order to get into the animal with a higher dose and deeper, not into the skin, but into the muscle. So therefore, of course, there's a little bit more mechanical parts inside this device here. But due to the nice balance and due to some optional features like this wrist strap, which especially the ladies preferred in the field trials. I will show it to you just quickly. It's a wrist strap like this. If you attach it to your wrist like this, and then you take the device, you, just a second. You guide the strap through here, and then you would fix it to your wrist. So this would allow for even easier handling. It just gives you a little bit more stability here. You can also let go of the handle. Nothing will happen, so you don't have the risk of dropping the device. So some people really prefer to work with this wrist strap. We have done several trials on that. It was quite funny to do that. We have dropped the device in different ways. So, for example, like this, we have dropped it from 1.20 meters to the floor, to a concrete floor. Basically, of course, there were some scratches here on the metal parts, but it was still possible to work with the device. We also dropped it this way, sideways, and this type of crash, it took really well. So it was always possible to operate the device afterwards. The only scenario where it did get a damage was when we dropped it this way around. But usually it will be very unlikely that you drop it this way around, because you hold the device like this, and if you drop it, it will rather fall like this, but not like this. And here, what came off during the crash like this was the bottle attachment. If you have a bottle here, you of course have a certain lever, and the bottle attachment was damaged. So that was the only scenario where we really had a problem with this type of crash. Yes, you know everything now. All right, so I will just show you how to set it up. What is really nice about the device, it has this installing position. So you can put it in front of you on the table like this. And then the first step would be to attach the vaccine. Now, as I don't have a vaccine bottle right here, I will use the PET bottle that is included. But we, of course, as mentioned already, have these different adapters here for the vaccine bottles. So it's of course possible to also attach the standard vaccine bottles that you know. It's also possible to attach a larger bottle, like 250 milliliters, with a tubing collar. So then you would just take off the adapter that is attached and attach here the tubing adapter. There's also some tubing included in the case, and this can be connected here, and then you could also work like that. So then you would have the bottle on your arm, you would have the tubing connected to the device. You save a little bit of additional weight because there's no bottle on top. So that's also possible if you prefer to work this way. Now, I will, for this demonstration, mount the bottle to the device directly. As mentioned, let's assume this would be a vaccine bottle. So I attach it right here. I just turn it in, so until it sits really tight. And then the second step would be to insert the battery. Can also be done in this installing position. Insert the battery, and then, yeah, it's turning on. And we have here the first question on the screen. Is a bottle of liquid attached? And only if you confirm with yes, you can start working with the device. Why are we asking this question? We have seen some people who have just inserted the battery without having a bottle on top, and then pushed the trigger and wanted to work with the device. But of course, this doesn't work because you didn't have any liquid on top. So therefore, we just want to make sure that you draw in liquid when you use the device and not air, because there's no bottle. So we confirm with yes, and then we get to the starting page right here with the day counter, 70 injections, the currently set volume, battery level, and so on. If we push the right button, we come to the different menu pages here. For example, we have a pen counter. We can reset the counter with the left button by pushing it 2-3 seconds, and then it's back at 0. So you can actually go from pen to pen and always reset the counter if you like. Then we have a day counter. Here we have two values. The first one is 70, the second one is 77. What does this mean? 77 is the number of total vaccinations, and 70 is the number of successful vaccinations. So this is the green LEDs, and this would mean that we would have done 7 injections with a red LED. You will, as I mentioned, in most cases, if you get a green LED as a feedback after the injection, know that the piglet was injected successfully. If you get a red LED, you will usually notice not only the red LED, but also that some part of the injection has not entered the animal, and then you will know it's been a too small dose, and that you would rather have to inject it again. So, and then there's some other possibilities here, as I mentioned with the volume. You can change it by clicking the left button to 1 ml or back to 2 ml. You have a service counter. This is the counter counting backwards, actually, from 12,000 to 0. And this is where this service part comes in. So this is the part that I mentioned earlier. This one sits below the nozzle right here. And needs to be exchanged every 12,000 shots. So you just unscrew the nozzle with some standard tools, which I have right here. These are the tools that you need. Everyone has them in a farm, usually. So you unscrew the nozzle, the metal part right here. Then you unscrew this part, which sits below. You insert the new part. It contains all the wear and tear parts with the different O-rings here. And inside is the cylinder where you have the liquid or the vaccine later on. So you will. Sorry? It's for 12,000 shots, and then you have to exchange it. And the old one can be disposed of, and the new one is mounted and then used for another 12,000 shots. Yeah. All right. So this is the service counter. If you do your service, you would have to reset this service counter afterwards, so it starts counting from 12,000 to 0 again. If it comes to 0, it will give you an optical warning on the LED that service is due, so that you know, okay, now I have to change this unit in my device. And then you have a total counter back here. And yeah, that's pretty much it with most important settings. Then there are some sub settings right here, but this goes too much into detail right now. I would just like to show you the practical use of the device. So we have installed the bottle, we have inserted the battery. Now we would like to do some injections. What we do in order to make the device ready for the first injection is we push the trigger right here. And this will start the priming process, because right now in the device we have still some water from the last cleaning, and we want to get the water out and we want to get the vaccine in. So I push the trigger, and with this I will get the water out, and at the same time I will draw in vaccine into the device. Yeah. I keep pushing it. During this process, I keep pushing it, and the water that is flushed out in the front comes at a very low speed, so there's nothing that can happen to anyone. Only if I'm injecting animals, it comes out at the high speed that you need in order to have a needle-free injection. Yeah, so I push the trigger and I keep it pushed, and then we will have the 3 cycles. You see the blue LED for rinsing. So the water comes out, the vaccine is drawn in. You don't see the water jet right here now, but there were some water drops coming out. So now what we have, now I can let go of the trigger, and now what we have is the white flashing LED. Also has the running pics on the screen. This means that I'm now ready to do my first injection. And this I can do in 2 ways. Either I push the trigger and apply the device to the piglet's neck muscle right here. So I do that. and that's one injection. Now I get a, okay, sorry for that. Yeah, perfect. So one more time, just push the trigger, bring the device to the piglet skin, and then it will reload in less than 2 seconds and be ready for the next injection. So you really can work very quickly and so on. A little bit less than 2 seconds in order to reload the device with the next dose of vaccine. Yeah. And now I would like to show you just once, if you release the device too early, you will get the red LED. So pay attention to the LED color. This was when I released too early, but usually then you also see that you spill the vaccine onto the skin of the pig and somewhere else. So this is of course what you want to avoid. But as mentioned, you get into using the device correctly very quickly. It's a easy and quick learning process, I would say. I can do just a little demo shot in front of a dark background, maybe into the air, so you can see what is coming out. So if I would now inject, you see that with high velocity, the spray jet comes out. Did you see that? Yeah, so this is going like 3 or 4 meters, but even if you would point the device to someone standing next to you, as soon as you get 5 or 10 centimeters away from the nozzle, nothing can happen to that person. So it's really not dangerous to work with the device. It's a very safe device. You cannot have any further needle stick injuries. So yeah, that's about the use of EPIC. So you could see that it's really intuitive. By the LED, you always know what you're doing. With a white flashing, you are ready for your next injection. With a green, you get a positive feedback, or red, and then you know you have to inject again. Any questions? Not now. Okay. Well, then I would say, as you are already in the process of getting the regulatory topics at your local authorities clarified in order to import your first device, we just schedule the next training and meeting once you have the device in your hands, and then we will do a little bit more practical training, and you can then just follow the steps that I do and therefore get a little bit of a first impression. Ideally, you would also invite your technical colleague who will then go to the farms, and yeah, then I think we have a good setup in order to get EPIC going in Thailand. Yeah, I hope so too. Um, it's chaotic, but probably that's in many countries. We are quite slow with vaccinations. We have increasing incidence numbers at the moment with yeah, high infection rates. So we are in a third wave at the moment. But probably within the next 3 or 4 months, we will have significant increase in vaccinated people. So yeah, I think towards the summer it will get easier and better again. How about you? Okay. Okay. Mm, mm, yeah. And is it the mutant version of the virus, or what version of the virus is spreading at the moment in Thailand? The British one. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's higher infectivity or infection rates with that one. So yeah, I hope the best for you. Hope that it will soon get better. Yeah. You have to be. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. 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 We know CP Foods. It's a huge company. Yeah. Exactly. This is what I mentioned with the other devices that are there so far. Pulse and AccuShot. I think that this is the two devices that you refer to. They're without wanting to say negative about these companies, but they are just very. It's a technical product, and you really have to be an expert if you want to work successfully with those products. And here, for the first time, I think we have a device that is just simple, plug and play, and therefore might be a good option for CP in Thailand. And hopefully that you will be successful with Epic there. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, I like the idea. It's really good if you have someone that is technically experienced and who's a real expert then on Epic as a product. I think you have a lot of arguments on your side, a lot of benefits on your side that CP will like. So yeah, I wish you the best of success with this approach, and I really think that it can be successful. Okay, then you are insider. You know you got all the. Okay, okay. Yeah, perfect. I mean, that's even better if you have the insights and you know what they really like and prefer. Um, yeah, perfect. I really like the idea. I have to say. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. No, not sure why, but here you have to see that there's still a lot of smaller pig farms. So I think in Asia, you're a little bit ahead of us in terms of having big and modern farms. Here in Europe, there's a lot of smaller pig farms where it's still family business, and then the son or daughter or whoever is going vaccinating the pigs. So that's what we see quite a lot here in Europe, and also in the field trials that I've done. It's just a lot of small and medium-sized farms where I think the farmers just think that it's too expensive probably to have a vaccination group coming in. They think that it's that they are better off with doing it themselves. So we know that from fish farms, this is done a lot. These are very highly modern farms run in Norway with a huge amount of fish in each farm. So there it makes a lot of sense to have these vaccination groups coming in, being professionals. They are also paid per fish. So that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I think for Asia, where you have the bigger farms, where it's much more modern way of farming, totally makes sense to have the same process there. And I'm really curious how it will go. So if you keep me updated about that, I would personally be interested in that really much. I hope yesterday. So no, I really hope very soon. I have to. I will get back to our RA department in order to ask them once more how the current status is, and I think there's been some communication in the last 1 or 2 days. So we're on good way to get this document ready. Hmm. Wow. Okay. See, that's the big difference to Europe. Here's a lot of smaller farms with by far not that amount of fattening pigs. Yeah. We too. I'll keep you posted, and then let's stay in touch. Okay. Thank you. Happy to hear that, and hope you liked it. And I'm looking forward to the next steps with you, and I'll keep you posted about the progress. My name is Marius Leihausen. I was also sending the invitation for the meeting today.
My name is Andreas Dürler, and I was copied in the emails that Marius sent to you. Okay. It was, sorry. Also from my side, I can say it was really nice to see Marius' presentation, but also to listen to the highly professional discussions between you and Marius, and I could learn many things about the vaccination and about the product. Really nice to hear all these facts.
Yeah. That would be our long-term goal to have one vaccinator that does it all. That's of course very nice, but technologically it's not possible today. So we have to put a little bit more, or actually much more, research into this topic. We will continue working on needle-free products, but for today, this is really the state-of-the-art product and the maximum that we could reach. Sifa, hello, nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to see you.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, nice. Hi there. Really? Okay.
Hello.
Ah, okay. Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Hey there. Okay, you always need an IT person.
Very nice to meet you all.
Yeah. Thanks again for your time today. It's been a pleasure that all of you took the time to get to know the new product, Epic. And as mentioned, we will stay in touch. I'll keep you posted, and then looking forward to the next steps. Yeah, if you have any questions, reach out to me anytime. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.